Welcome back to Comics with Drew. I'm Drew. Yeah. Wow. Today is a banner day for me. So, yeah. Today I wasn't really expecting anything new. I was just doing my job, and looking through the internet, and and my wife comes in. She goes, "Hey, did you order something? Because I got an alert from the postal service that something was delivered." And I thought, um, well, there was that there was that badger that I ordered. No, actually, I hadn't ordered anything. So I was like, well, that's weird. I said, well, I'll go get the mail. And so I go and open the door to go up to the mailbox, and right on my doorstep, like has always been planned after I talked to my mail lady who um, one time someone was like mailing was doing her route for her, and they crammed a comic book into my too small mailbox, so she and I had a summit about what should happen if anything came in a comic mailer again. And so, because she's an awesome mail lady, she takes them to my doorstep and drops them off. And so I open the door, and lo and behold, there is a comic mailer. I'm like, what is this? What the heck is this? I'm like, well, I do know that the Crusaders crowdfunder, I think it's the Crusaders. Is that what it is? Let me check this out real quick. The Ultimate Crusaders, yes, is supposedly coming to me, which has been a long time coming. So I thought, well, maybe it's the Crusaders. But I pick it up, and it's from the Bad Idea Outpost. Now, earlier this week, I had tweeted at Bad Idea. I said, look, I had done the Bad Idea Black Friday sale where if you had traded in your Final Five sticker. So, well, let's back that up a little bit. The Final Five stickers were stickers let's back it up even further. If you don't know what Bad Idea is a boutique comic book company that is part trolling and part really good comic making. And they are very frustrating to many people. But if you really like going after unique and great comic books, it's something that you want to look into, right? So, way back in the day, a couple of years ago, Bad Idea was announced, and it had a bunch of really great comic creators that were banding together to make a new kind of comic book company. And they wouldn't do digital comics, and they wouldn't do variant covers, and they would do low runs, and they were going to make their comics available one per customer, one per purchase per customer, and they would only be in select comic book shops. And so those comic book shops had to abide by certain weird arcane rules that Bad Idea had set forth. And there's only, like, I think 250 worldwide that could carry Bad Idea stuff. So the idea was that you could pre-order their comic, and the first comic was ENIAC. Now, ENIAC is a computer back in World War II that was used for calculating artillery range tables and firing ranges, and it's the first supercomputer. So ENIAC was fictionalized in this comic book. It's funny because people get mad about Pocahontas being fictionalized, but nobody gets mad about ENIAC being fictionalized. I wonder why that is. But ENIAC was a supercomputer. So the first comic coming from Bad Idea was ENIAC. So I saw that. I'm like, oh, I know what ENIAC is because I'm a World War II history buff. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. This is going to be great. A comic book about ENIAC. What could possibly go wrong? Well, a pandemic went wrong. So because of the pandemic, ENIAC was delayed. Bad Idea was delayed. And about a year goes by after they were supposed to be out. And then I see somewhere someone had gotten their ENIAC #1. I'm like, what the heck is this? Why don't I have ENIAC #1? So I had actually pre-ordered ENIAC from two different comic shops in the area, because in my area in Orlando, there are 3 Bad Idea comic shops. And so I had my main comic shop was one of them. And then there was another one up a little bit north of Orlando. And so I was like, okay, so on the off chance, I'm going to call them up. I call them up. I say, hey, man, do you still have my pre-order for ENIAC? And they said, yeah, we do. I'm like, sweet. And so then I called up the other one. And they said, yep, I see you pre-ordered it. We'll set one aside for you. So I was like, awesome. I am playing the game. I am beating the system. So I picked it up and I got 2 copies of ENIAC #1. This is my ENIAC #1. It is graded. It's the first slab book I've ever had slabbed. It's the first book I ever had graded in my life. I got 2 of them. And so ENIAC #1 it's a 9.8. I got 2 9.8s. I didn't get a 9.9, but I got 2 9.8s. It's my first graded books. So I love the book. It's an amazing story. ENIAC is one of the best. It's 4 issues. It's one of the best comic miniseries I have ever read. It truly is. It's by Matt Kindt or Kent. I think it's Matt Kindt. Matt Kent. It's Matt Kent, and it's just amazing art, and it's an amazing story. If you've not gotten it, you can go find them at Bad Idea Comic Shop. So this right here with a white label, that's the first printing, right? And then they have what's called the next printing. The next printing has a black ENIAC logo. So let's see, am I doing this right? Motor Skills. There we go. That has a black label, black. So it's like black label almost. But anyway, but that's the next printing they call it. So anyway, so Bad Idea had a bunch of different books, and I did a review of Pirate Queen earlier this week, which Pirate Queen was also another 4-issue miniseries. And so these books they've got phenomenal art. They've got amazing writing. They're hysterical. Bad Idea books are very, very, very good comic books. And the problem is that what pissed off a lot of people was, and including shop owners, is people would like find these books and they would go around kind of like what I did, but they would go around to different places and then they would hoard the books and then they put them on eBay and sell them for outrageous amounts of money. So like ENIAC was going, when it first was released, I was seeing people selling ENIAC on eBay for like $300-400. Now the thing is that the books are like their basic cover price. One of the rules for Bad Idea was that you could not sell the comic for over the cover price. So ENIAC here is $3.99, and there's a bunch of other different comics that they've done. So I think the most expensive was $7.99. I think each of the Pirate Queen books that I was reviewing earlier this week was $8. So if you showed up and you were the first person to buy a Bad Idea new release, so if you like, they had ENIAC, they had Monster Kill Squad, they had The Lot, they had Whalesville. If you were one of the first to show up, if you were the first to show up and you were the first to buy a comic that was a new release from like if you're the first person to buy ENIAC #1, for example, you would get what was like a gold button, right? So these gold buttons were kind of like additional weird meta currencies. So if you got the gold button, the idea was that you could keep the gold button that said you were the first one to buy it at this shop, or you could keep that gold button and then hold it back later on and exchange it for something else. So some of these things that Bad Idea would, to be announced, to be announced later on, or to be determined later on. But people were selling these comics for crazy amounts of money, and comic shop owners were a little bit pissed off because naturally we were selling the book for $4 and someone else is going and making like 1,000% profit on that. It's out of control. So that's what people were upset about, naturally. But that was part of the fun. If you were there, the idea was that the Bad Idea was making comics for comic fans. But with the gold buttons, it started turning into this cutthroat thing where people would be in line for hours and hours and hours before the shop opened to get the chance to buy to get the button, because the button was free. The buttons were also going for crazy amounts of money. They were going for like $200, $300, $400 because nobody knew what the buttons were for. So because there's so many limited edition amounts of comics and limited issues and limited series from Bad Idea, there are people that are like, oh, we're gonna Pokemon this, we're gonna catch them all, and we're gonna get them all. And so people would be like totally, it's like camping out all the time for these buttons. So it was frustrating if you just liked if you liked a writer and you liked a particular comic, you would want to get the button for it, but it was tough to do that when you had other people basically acting like scalpers, like what 80s May was talking about here in the chat. So to make a long story short, which is actually, I'm lying, I'm not going to make it short because I'm doing a live stream, because this is very important because of what happened today. So anyway, after about 6 or 7 months of this, Bad Idea comes out and says, "Oh, guess what? We're not going to be Bad Idea anymore. We're going to stop making comics. But before we stop making comics, we're going to announce 5 new series, and that's going to be the last Bad Idea books that we make. And if you want these books, you can pre-order them and get a Final 5 sticker." And so the idea was like, okay, well, we got these gold buttons and we got this Final 5 sticker, and the idea was that you could redeem a sticker later on for something else, but you didn't know it was. But the idea was that it was supposed to, the rumor had it that it was going to be something incredibly amazing and incredibly rare. So Bad Idea gold buttons were going crazy on eBay, and I tried to get some of these. I was successful in getting some of them, but there's this other dude that kept sniping me on these things, and it was pissing me off because he'd be like, "Oh man," he would show up like right before I would get there, or he would say, "Oh, this is the last of my PTO. I can't show. I'm out of vacation. I can't show up again." So then I'm like, "Okay, great." And the next time there was a new gold button that came out, I drive up there. There's this dude sitting in that friggin' lawn chair in front of the comic shop. It would piss me off. He'd be like there 3 hours in advance, drive me up a wall. Anyway, I did manage to beat him a couple different times, and I did manage to get 4 gold buttons. So anyway, for different titles. So you could exchange the gold buttons. So the first announcement came out that Bad Idea was going to say, okay, look, if you want to get one of these limited edition comics, they had this werewolf comic. I'm pretty sure what it was. I can't remember off the top of my head. It didn't interest me, but you could redeem a button for this for this comic, and that is an extremely rare comic, and people have gotten it. And then there was another one that you could also redeem a gold button for. Also not interested. I wasn't really interested into it. Again, these are very rare, exceedingly rare, very expensive if you buy them on eBay. So at this point, they weren't announcing any more things. They said we're gonna be done with making comics, and we got the last 5 titles that are coming out, and you can pre-order these and get a Final 5 sticker, and the Final 5 sticker can be redeemed for something amazing. And so I said, screw it. So I went and I bought it. I pre-ordered $120 worth of comic books for the sticker. And so I was following Bad Idea, and it was a lot of fun on Twitter, and they're very cryptic, and it was really cool, kind of like Easter egg stuff. But I finally decided that they came out with the next release of what they're going to redeem the buttons for, and you never knew what they're going to do. And so then they said, okay, we're going to redeem your gold buttons for a rock. And so the idea was that if you traded in your buttons, you would get a rock, a Bad Idea rock, which like a literal rock. It wasn't like some kind of special production thing. They found like a rock, and they may have written something on it in marker, and that was it. And I kind of just got pissed off. Well, actually, before that happened, get to Passive Aggressive. So there was a sneak attack book that came out called Passive Aggressive, right? And it was like they didn't announce it; it just showed up in comics shops. And the thing is that you read the comic, and there was a stinger at the end of it, and the comic looked like it said, okay, when you got to the end of it, it says, if you think you've read everything, you've not read it, you missed something. And so what turned out was Passive Aggressive. Yeah, I know, right? This is what my wife said. My wife says, "This is a scam. Why are you doing this, babe? This is stupid. These guys are asses." And I'm like, well, yeah, I understand. So anyway, so the Passive Aggressive book came out, and Passive Aggressive, there's let me see. Do I actually have that? Hold on just a second. All right. So this is Passive Aggressive, right? And in Passive Aggressive books, there's I'm going to open this up. Apologize for the noise. unless you're into AMSR or ASMR. What is? I'm not, because that's why I don't know what it means. Anyway, so with the passive aggressive book, when you open the book, the interior says passive on some of them. On others, it says aggressive. And so this Final Five sticker that everybody was super excited about paying $125 for, because you're going to redeem it for something awesome. They come out and they say, well, you can redeem this Final Five sticker for the other passive aggressive book. So if you wanted to get if you had the passive, like what I just showed you, and you wanted the aggressive, Bad Idea was like, hey, you can redeem your Final Five sticker for the aggressive version. And you're like, well, okay, that's fine, except for the fact that you can go buy the other book. You could find out one of the you could find out one of the other stores, because some stores, I think West Coast stores had the aggressive, and East Coast stores had the passive, I think, or maybe it was reverse. I don't really care. But you could call one of the other stores and say, hey, I'd like to buy your aggressive copy of Passive Aggressive. And so when you bought the book is told, the aggressive is told from the opposite side of the story. So the books tell the same story from two perspectives, and one's passive, one's aggressive. It's an amazing thing. It's really cool. And it would have been so much cooler, and people would have been way more excited if you weren't being made to pay for shipping to buy the other book, because it's part of the same story. So people were really pissed off, and I was irritated. My wife was actually more pissed off about it than I was. And she goes, so you got this Final Five sticker and they want you to send this sticker in? And I'm like, yeah. But you know what? Bad Idea is crazy. So maybe there's some unspoken thing, because Bad Idea is good at playing games like this, right? So I went and I said, you know what? I thought about it, and and I ordered the aggressive book. So I already have both of these books, right? I've got the aggressive one, I've got the passive one. And so I said, you know what? If I redeem the sticker, I could sell the sticker on eBay if I wanted to, and there'd be people that would pay a lot of money for it. But then what if I were to redeem it and there was something that they're not telling people about, and then you would get your passive aggressive copy, whichever one you wanted, and then you would get like a special something else, right? Well, I went ahead and I sent the sticker in, and I said, all right, screw it, I'm gonna send the sticker in. So I send the sticker in, right? And I wait, and it's like that SpongeBob thing. 1 million years later, right? Eventually, 1 million years later, I got my extra book, and the sticker wasn't there, and there was a letter saying, "Oh, here's your book! Yay, good for you!" Clap, clap. I was like, "Fine, whatever." But I saw people in the Bad Idea Facebook group that I'm part of. They were getting a special extra book. One of only 50. There's only 50 people that got this book, and I was pissed. I was super pissed, and the reason why I was pissed off about it was because they were like, "Well, if you send in a funny letter and you made us laugh, or we thought you were randomly cool, we were going to include this something," and people were just super pissed. And because it's like, look, you made us buy this book, then you made us buy these other things. You made this big deal about the stupid sticker. And so then you say, okay, we'll exchange the sticker for this other book that we should have just gotten or been able to buy, which you actually were able to buy. And then you randomly select these other people and send 50 people this copy of the special book. And so back to ENIAC real quick here. The B story, each Bad Idea book has a B story. And the B story is something called A Briefcase. It's Hero Trade, a briefcase. And it's a black and white book. It's a really cool book, but it's the B-side story of ENIAC. And you can read it in any ENIAC #1 book. And so the ENIAC book, the book that came to some people who got passive aggressive with their sticker redemption, they sent their Final Five sticker in. They got that B-side as a standalone book. It's a naked cover. There's no trade dress really. It's just it's a totally underground looking book, and people were super pissed off about this. And I was like, all right, whatever, And the reason why is because the reason why I'm like that, I'm pretty chill about it, is because ultimately it's a bad idea. everything here about bad idea is a bad idea. On the back of every one of the books is an illustration of a bad idea. And so I was like, whatever, fine. And so I forgot about it. But then that's when, after that happened, then the rock thing came out. And that I was just like, screw you guys. Forget this. I'm not going to redeem these buttons for rocks. So I said, I'm going to cut my losses. I'm just going to take the gold buttons that I had. I had 4 gold buttons, and I just sold the buttons with the issues that they had, and so that they came with. So I sold it. I sold it for like $500. So I sold the buttons for $500. So anyway, so I decided that, and Bad Idea announced, we're not going to be Bad Idea any longer. We're gonna stop doing things. And I said, yeah, you guys are full of it. You guys are liars. You guys are totally gonna be making stuff. But I said, whatever. I'm done with this. I'm done with camping out in front of comic shops, getting gold buttons, and I'm done with the shenanigans. Okay. So lo and behold, it's kind of like, have you ever seen The Godfather Part 3, where Al Pacino says, just as I get out, they pulled me back in. And that's what happened. So at the end of November, on Black Friday, Bad Idea comes out again on Twitter. And they're like, hey guys, we've got a Black Friday sale. And so since we don't have anything to sell, if you want, you can send us a money order for $20 or $10. It was money order for $10, and send us a letter, and you can ask for your Final Five sticker back if you wanted it. I'm like, F you people, F you guys. I'm not going to do that. So then I thought about it. I'm like, damn it. If I don't, what if I send a letter and then I get the sticker back, but there's something else. Well, it's like one of these, am I willing to risk it or not? And I said, this is it. It's like at the end of the Batman TV show, is this their last hurrah? And I was like, yes, this is my last hurrah. This is it, Bad Idea. It's going down, and there's not going to, it's like Patrick Stewart and as Jean-Luc Picard in First Contact. It's like, they assimilate entire worlds and we fall back. And it's like, they take all my shipping money and then we bite anyway. And I said, and it's like when Picard says, this far, no farther, the line must be drawn here, and I will make them pay for what they've done. So that's my bad Picard impression. So I was like, this far, no further. This is it. I'm sending in one more thing to Bad Idea, and I'm going to get this sticker back just so I can have the sticker. And I will have the sticker, and I will be complete, right? I'll be like Tom Cruise and Jerry Maguire. You complete me, So I send it out, and nothing. I get nothing back. But wait a second. I wrote a letter. I wrote a fancy letter. I wrote a funny letter, and I'm very angry with myself because I apparently deleted that letter from my computer. It was left open, and I closed something. I didn't save it. So I don't have a letter, but I sent a letter. It's a very long, funny letter. And I sent not $10, I sent $20 because I said, you know what? Fine, guys. I'm going to play your stupid game by your stupid rules. And I'm going to send you more money than you asked for. And I'm going to write a funny letter. And apparently I'm pretty talented at writing funny letters. So nothing happened. I didn't hear anything back. And I was like, well, if I don't get it, I don't get it, whatever. Because Bad Idea is famous. That passive aggressive issue that I got back came like a month to 2 months later. It was ridiculous how long it took for me to get that book. But anyway, so it took so long. People were wondering if it was like scam. Or was it like, or did they just like take off with the shipping money? Because that'd be a pretty stupid scam. In fact, that would be a bad idea, obviously. So, but anyway, so that was in December. So December, January, February, March. Now we're in the middle, towards the end of April. And earlier this week, I said, Bad Idea came out, and they started, we're going to sell donuts now, and if you buy a donut, you get one copy of Bunsen Beaver. I was at the South Carolina Comic Con. I'm like, yeah, I am not going to South Carolina to buy a frigging donut to get one of your frigging comic books because I'm done with you people. But they kept doing it over and over again. I said, I'm going to tweet, when am I going to get my Final Five sticker? It's been like 5 months, right? Well, now, today, I get my front door open, and there is a mailer, and it's from Bad Idea, and it's a comic book mailer. It's not just a little envelope. And like, could it be? Could something have happened? Magical. And I open the book. I don't open the. I get the packaging. I tell my wife, "Hey, it's from Bad Idea," and she goes, "Those bastards!" And I'm like, "Yes, those bastards." It's like she goes, "What are they doing now? What are they doing to irritate you now?" I'm like, "Ah, no, no, no." It's like I don't know, but this is a comic book mailer. Let me open this. Let me open this up, right? So I open it up, and sure enough, there's a book in there. And I'm like, "Well, I didn't ask for a book. This is good. This is a good sign." And they've taped it pretty well, and it always gives me the it makes me nervous whenever people tape things around because you get a knife out, you're afraid that you're going to damage the book. I hate that. Anyway, they had a book in there. I open it up. There's a letter. The letter says certificate of authenticity, and lo and behold, whoa, the angels sing, the heavens open, and the angels sing, and the Bad Idea angels, patron saints, come down and have bestowed upon me a briefcase, Hero Trade. There are only 84 of these in the wild. And here's my sticker, my Final Fight sticker. so I finally got my freaking sticker back, and I got this. Now, this book is actually pretty cool because if you open it, which I've not opened this one, I'm not. Oh, geez. Yeah. I'm still debating whether I'm even going to open it at all. It says someone actually wrote in one of the panels, "Don't CGC me." So I'm not sure what the point of that is. So I'm sure people are going to get a CGC'd anyway because they're all written in it like that. Apparently, from what I understand, from what most people say, everyone that's opened one says this says "Don't CGC me." So there you go. That is how I came to be in possession of the most valuable comic book in my comic book collection. Right now, if you go on eBay, there are people that are listing these for $850. Buy it now. So you can like bid. There's like one that's a $500 bid to start, but you can buy it now for $850. Now, the Hero Trade, there is actually a Hero Trade comic book that came out. It was the first book ever released by Bad Idea, but they didn't tell anybody about it. That's the worst way. Always afraid to open it. Yeah, exactly. I tell you what, man, it makes me nervous as heck when I open these things because I don't want to damage it, especially when it's something that you know is going to be valuable like this. So anyway, so the Hero Trade, it was a very limited edition. It was like one copy sent to each store, and that book is like $5,000. So if you go on eBay looking for that book, because it's the very first Bad Idea book, it is well into the four figures. So I think some I've seen them for 2,500, but they are really freaking expensive. They're more expensive, for example, for a reference, than the debut issue of Deadpool in New Mutants 98. So that's how tough it is to get these books. But now I have a briefcase, standalone B-side issue of that comic by Matt Kindt, and it's an amazing story. And I highly recommend that if you have a Bad Idea shop local to you, a lot of the fervor and rush and craze has died down. So you can get a lot of Bad Idea books in bundles if you want. So if you've got a Bad Idea shop that's local to you, you can go in, and oftentimes they'll just have them up on the shelf and you can pick them up. I recommend every Bad Idea book. I have not read a bad Idea comic book. So no pun intended. So every single one of them are fantastic. The art is amazing. The stories are amazing. And really it's the point of each Bad Idea book is that it's a bad idea. Every plot, every story, every premise is a bad idea. Even the B-sides are bad ideas. And that's one of the cool things about Bad Idea in general. And I know that a lot of people are pissed off about them, and I know a lot of people hate them. But you just gotta. It is a bad idea. So you just gotta have a sense of humor. So I posted this on Facebook. I said, look, actually the letter says that only 34 people are getting it, but I happen to know that the previous letter that came out, only 50 people were getting them. So that makes a combined total of 84 that are available right now in the wild. So that being said, I put it on Facebook, and my father-in-law goes, so how do you get this honor? I'm like, well, honestly, pure luck and a sense of humor. That's how you were able to obtain one of these books. So that's Bad Idea. Bad Idea is supposed to be over. They've been on their social media talking about, oh, we're over, we're not going to do anything, ha. But they do have a sense of humor. Some of the best writers in comics write for them. Robert Venditti writes comics for them. He did a Monster Kill Squad. No, wait, is it? No, he did Tankers. Venditti did Tankers, which is also a hilarious book. You should read Tankers. I'm going to, I've only done reviews of Pirate Queen, and I've done a review of the first issue of ENIAC. I need to do reviews of the entire catalog because I have it all. So I just not gotten around to reading it. But yeah, so that's what happened to me today.